Good evening, fuckers. We are back with the next Train Simulator Classic request video. Now, this one, as you can perhaps tell from what we can see right in front of us, is a Caledonian Sleeper. Now, we're not going to do the entire route because, for one thing, I can't, and for another, it might be a little bit too long. Says me with a 12 route DLC request in the making. So, for this one, we're on a route DLC that by now we're very familiar with, West Coast Main Line South. It's appeared in many videos. And this particular route has, for the most part, appeared in many different videos. We are starting at Euston, and our destination is Birmingham, but we are going to Birmingham International, not Birmingham New Street. The reason for that is we're kind of amalgamating two different sleeper routes for this one. And for this part, we are basically following the route of the Caledonian Sleeper that goes to Glasgow, and that particular sleeper, its first stop is Birmingham International. It doesn't stop at Birmingham New Street. In fact, none of the sleepers stop at Birmingham New Street, presumably because the layout of that station, it's really not very conducive to passenger trains of the length that the Caledonian Sleeper is. So yeah, we're stopping at Birmingham International. If I was doing the route or the Caledonian Sleeper that was going to Edinburgh, our first stop would be Watford Junction, but it doesn't stop again then until Crewe, which I don't have on the West Coast Main Line. So yeah, that's a section that I'm missing. So yeah, I'm having to do this. Now, as for the train itself, well, yeah, it is the return of the Class 92 because it is the Caledonian Sleeper. But I have altered it a bit because when we start at Euston, it always starts us on like platforms 3 or 4 or somewhere around there. The sleeper always starts at platform 1 or 2 because they're the only platforms at Euston that are long enough to take the Caledonian Sleeper. That train always has 16 carriages, so 17 if you include the loco itself. I've made this one a bit shorter, so yeah, we have 14 carriages, so yeah, 15 in total, 15 units in total. And yeah, even that, it doesn't fit on the platforms where it starts us. So as far as the specifics, it is summer, it is cloudy, and it's 8:30. And if you're thinking 8:30 is a bit early for Caledonian Sleepers to get underway, well, yeah, it is if you're on one of the sleepers that's going to either Glasgow or Edinburgh. But if you're on one of the sleepers that is then going on to either Fort William, Aberdeen, or Inverness, 8:30 is actually the time when they depart. So now the fact that it's summer means we are going to get still some sort of semblance of daylight as we leave. It's going to take us about an hour and a half to get to Birmingham International. So yeah, it's going to be about 10 o'clock by then, so we're probably approaching a night run as we actually get into Birmingham. Hopefully we'll still have some daylight though. Anyway, that is the setup then. Let's get this up and running. So here we are. Let's get the train set up and then we will start to sort out everything else. There we go. Just wait for the self-test to come on. There we go. Right, get the lights done. I'll put the cab light on just while I am doing this so I can make sure I've got everything right here. Turn the tail lights off, instrument lights on. I think that is everything. So we can turn the cab lights off again. Oh, hang on, I forgot to put the lights on. I'm actually going to put them onto night mode because, well, you can see, yes, there is still daylight, but it's not very clear. Don't need to change our brake timings. This is a passenger service, so we can keep that. So, in fact, we are all set up. So here is our Class 92 Caledonian Sleeper. And as you can see, yeah, it's off the end of the platform. And you can also see the platforms next to us, so yeah, 1, 2 and 3, they would be long enough for us to have the full length train, but for some reason it always puts us here on platform 4. So anyway, these are all Mark III Caledonian Sleeper coaches. I don't yet have the Mark 5s, and no, I don't know what happened to the Mark 4s either. And I've set the layout exactly as it would be on the Caledonian Sleeper, except I've removed one of the actual sleeper coaches. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the actual sleepers. Then we have the restaurant car. And then we have, for people who are absolute psychos, who choose to just get a seat for the entire journey. And then it gets repeated again. So it would be 6, but in our case it's 5 more of the sleepers. Then the second restaurant car, and then the final, yeah, those who just have seats. And the reason it is set up like that is because, yeah, once we get to Glasgow, the trains then get split up into 2. So, we are all set to go. We are already late because, yeah, we were supposed to leave at 8:30, and it's now 8:33. So let's reduce the brakes. Yeah, you can see the brakes are coming down, yeah, much faster than they would be if we were on goods timings. Let's get underway. So we got the speed selector at 15, so we are fine there. And of course, because the maximum speed of the 92 is 87 mph, we are certainly not going to be doing this as fast as any of the other London to Birmingham passenger services that we've done. Not even the one that was done on the Chiltern line, because there we were able to do 100. But of course, on the sleeper train, you neither want nor need the the high speed, because there is no rush. The passengers are going to be sleeping through a lot of this. And also, under absolutely no illusions, there are rooms or cabins with double beds on this thing. We know full well that there is going to be a fair bit of humping going on during this journey. We can now go up to 25. I must admit, this is a journey that I would really like to do myself, but the cabins are really pokey, really small, and it is bloody expensive. So I suspect it is unlikely that I will ever do this journey, but yeah, I would like to. I'm also hoping that we don't get any faults on this train, which of course, yeah, the last time I was in a Class 92 we did have a fault, but at least I do now know the keys to acknowledge the fault. Whether or not that will fix it, I don't know. So we can go up to 40. So 1 in 35 gradient here, but yeah, train is having no problems getting up it, despite the fact that we are pulling 14 coaches, as we can now go up to 50. Does, yeah, does look great. And of course, now that we've got underway, unless we should encounter some red signal aspects, which I very much doubt we will, we are not stopping again until we are actually at Birmingham International. So we are entering a 55 zone. We are now in it, so pick up a bit more speed. And then as we leave the tunnel, we will be entering an 80 mph zone, which is very nearly our maximum speed, and we have a 100 zone coming up in just over 3/4 of a mile, and from that point onwards we will be able to do our maximum speed, which is 87. It looks like 350 over there. That's a train that I need to do another video of. So we are into the 80 zone. And yeah, 100 zones fast approaching. At that point I can set the speed set to 87. There you go, entering the 100 zone now. Of course, all 15 parts of the train have to be in there. There we go. So 87 is now on the speed set. It's not going to take long for us to get to it. I mean, we're pulling a pretty hefty train here. We have a 390 passing us, one of the Avanti ones. But yeah, I mean, we are pulling a really hefty train, and this thing is doing it with no effort at all. It really is such a powerful locomotive that we're in. So here we are at 87. We're at our maximum. And of course, because we are so far below the actual max line speed, we've got no danger of speeding. So we've got a fairly short tunnel here. All this sort of stuttering and that will stop as we get outside of London. So yeah, you really can see just how, you know, how long this bloody train is. I can't even see the loco at the front. Oh, some real heavy stuttering now. So once we are out of North London, this will improve. It is pretty bad at the moment, but yeah, it is picking up. Can't remember what this actual area we're in is, but yeah, so many sidings and everything else, and this is what's causing all of the FPS loss. We're now in a 120 mph zone. And in a mile and a half, that line speed goes up to the max within the UK at 125. And of course, we will not be doing anything like that kind of speed. So Wembley Central. So there's a station coming up, we'll be going straight through. You can see Wembley Stadium just over there. Well, you can see the arch of it anyway. So you can also see where the Chiltern line would be, as it goes right past Wembley Stadium. In fact, there's even the Wembley Stadium station there. So we're not exactly running particularly far away from the Chiltern line. In fact, throughout the entire run, the Chiltern line is really not that far away from us. So going back to the whole Caledonian Sleeper service, they all depart from Euston, whether you're going to Glasgow or Edinburgh. Now, I did read somewhere that all sleeper services depart from Euston. I'm not sure that is the case anymore, because I'm pretty sure the sleeper service that goes down to Penzance, I'm pretty sure that departs from either Paddington or Waterloo. So that, yeah, it was Wembley Central that we just went through, and frames per second are really picking up nicely now. This is much more like it. So 389 is going by. Just here, yeah, where we went through the neutral section. We're fine now. Let's just take a look at yeah, we don't need any of that gubbins. Harrow and Wealdstone station. Once again, we're just going to go hurtling through it. So we're only about 10 minutes out, but I can tell you by now, just about everybody on this train would now be making a beeline for the restaurant car. It always seems to be like a mad rush for the restaurant car at yeah, on these sleeper services. And of course, there's only 2 restaurant cars on the entire train, so yeah, a lot of people get there only to find, yeah, you got to turn back. You're having your meal in your cabin, whether you like it or not. Either that, or you got to wait for everyone else to bugger off. So anyway, Harrow and Wealdstone station we've just been through. Another 350. I don't think we're going to have any sort of surprises as far as other trains that we'll see on this run. It's going to be all 350s, 390s and the occasional 221. Mind you, I say that, we've had a couple of 378s already. I don't think we're going to see any more of those. So it's the London Underground line that's running to our left, but it is also used by overground services that run on DC power, and we will be yeah, doing that run quite soon, very possibly the next video. So max line speed is coming down to 110 in just over a mile. Absolutely no problem for us. Yeah, unfortunately there's no passenger view. If I had the Mark V coaches, I think there is passenger views for those, but it's, I think it's about £7 or £8 just for the Mark V coaches. Yeah, I don't really fancy paying that for some coaches. Mind you, one thing I did discover as I was going through the list of what I have DLC wise for this game, there is only about 6 locos that, or 6 different locos along with the ones I've got that I can still get, and that's including 3 that are from ATS. I'm very reluctant to get anything from ATS, but I think it is likely that I may well end up doing so. So Watford Junction is fast approaching. So yeah, if this was the service that was going to Edinburgh, we would be stopping here, but we're not. But like I say, the only reason for that is that yeah, the Edinburgh service, once it has stopped here, so here we are at Watford Junction, but once it stops here, its next stop is Crewe, and I am missing the section of the West Coast Main Line that allows me to actually go to Crewe. I will also point out that yeah, once we've stopped at Birmingham International, driver number 2 will be taking over. It will be the end of the video. You know, we're not doing the full run. Despite our late start, we are making time quite well. We've already gained the 3 minutes that we lost at the start there. Now ETA is currently yeah, 9:56 PM. So we're now re-entering 125 zone. Yeah, not a it's not making any difference to us. Kings Langley is the next station that we'll be going through. The DC lines have now all stopped. Watford Junction is as far as they go. So yeah, it is now just entirely West Coast Main Line lines themselves that we still have here. All 5 of them. And now all 4 of them. So here we are at Kings Langley station. Hurtling through there. Everything's looking good on the yeah, on the display there. Let's hope it stays that way. So Apsley is the next one. So we've already shaved off another minute off of our ETA. So at the moment we are scheduled to arrive at Birmingham quite early. But bearing in mind the service we're on, whether we are going to Fort William, Aberdeen or Inverness, yeah, Birmingham we are, yeah, We're nowhere near even halfway at that point. So yeah, here we are at Apsley. Hemel Hempstead is our next station. I did actually read somewhere, someone suggested, you know, why not use the Chiltern line for the Caledonian Sleeper service. It's not a great idea. So here is Hemel Hempstead. I don't know what that AWS alert was for. But yeah, using the Chiltern line, yeah, not a good idea. Because for one thing, as well as being, well, I was going to say as well as being you know, a main line from London to Birmingham, but really isn't. It's very much a commuter line. There are a lot of stations on the Chiltern line, and for the vast majority of it, you've only got two sets of rails next to each other, and if you're going to run a service like this, you need a lot of avoiding lines. But even after all that, the line's not electrified, so you certainly couldn't use the 92. So I'm not sure what loco they would use, but yeah, it would have to be diesel. Probably end up being a 222 or something. Go through another neutral section. Yeah, not only that, but once you get to Birmingham, you're at Birmingham Moor Street, or you could go on to Birmingham Snow Hill. Neither of those stations are anywhere near big enough to handle a sleeper. You know, let's face it, if Birmingham New Street can't accommodate them, then there's no way Moor Street or Snow Hill will be able to. And there is no connection from you know, from either Moor Street or Snow Hill to the West Coast Main Line. So then, how the hell do you continue with the journey once you've reached Birmingham? Answers on a postcard. So yeah, it's really not a good idea as we go through Berkhamsted. Let's see if we get any trackside views. As always, we'll give it 3 chances. Ah, here we go. So we did get a trackside view there. So Birmingham International is now a mere 75.5 miles, or just over. And our ETA says we are about an hour away. See the sun is very low in the sky there. So hopefully we've still got an hour or so of daylight. It's certainly not going to be total darkness by the time we get to Birmingham, but it will have got noticeably darker. So Tring station, about a mile away. Here we are. Oh, fucking what is this? Well, hopefully... yeah, we're okay. So there's a 350, swiftly followed by a 221. Cheddington is our next station. So Birmingham International was about 105 miles away when we started. So yeah, we're making pretty good progress. So here is Cheddington Station, not a particularly memorable one. Another rather large 350 in the station there. Well, it certainly appears that acknowledging the fault when it comes up on the screen is all that's required. Yeah, other than our speed, this doesn't seem to be telling us a great deal. This one is, yeah, if there are going to be any faults appearing, this is the screen where we're most likely going to see them approaching. Yeah, the announcement screen, well, it will turn up there when it will move to that particular display if a fault comes along. But for now, I think we are okay. Don't have anything to worry about. So Leighton Buzzard Station coming up. So speed reduction when we leave Leighton Buzzard down to 110. Again, we do not need to take any action for that. There's another neutral section we just went through. Here in the background, the all the electrics cut off and then suddenly lurch back into life as we pass through the neutral section there. So here is Leighton Buzzard Station. Could do with the neutral sections actually being marked on the route display, but I am glad to see that the neutral sections have actually been coded in. It's not just a graphical representation. I mean, a loco like this, it's no problem. But if you're in either an 85, 86 or 87, yeah, they are a bit of a pain in the arse. Although it's perfectly understandable why they have those neutral sections there, and it helps out massively when it comes to actually providing the electrical supply, especially when you, I mean, this route, it's basically London to Scotland, and they need to electrify the entire thing. So yeah, having those neutral sections really does help. As far as I can tell, certainly as far as I'm aware, the West Coast Main Line really doesn't have too many problems with its electricity supply, which you certainly cannot say applies to the East Coast Main Line. They are forever having problems. Now, I think one of the reasons why they are using on the East Coast Main Line Class 802s, 800s, and I think they're using 805s on there. I'm not 100% certain, but it is that they all have the backup of the diesel engine, and when the almost inevitable happens that you know, there's problems with their electricity supply, those trains can still keep running. Admittedly, not running anywhere near as well, but at least they are able to still keep going. Whereas, I mean, this Class 92 we're in, that certainly wouldn't be able to. Now, I think that's one of the reasons why the Caledonian Sleeper service, they all use the West Coast Main Line, even if they are going to Edinburgh. So here we are at Bletchley. So yeah, absolutely no problems with the yeah, keeping this thing running at yeah, when it's making its way to Edinburgh. It stays on the West Coast Main Line until, I can't actually remember the point at which it turns off, but it's, I think you're well into Lancashire, may even be into Cumbria before it does turn off here and start heading towards Edinburgh. So yeah, it's as if they've made the decision to avoid the East Coast Main Line for as long as possible. In fact, they avoid it completely. Now again, the AWS went off there, but I really can't see why. We've got green straight ahead of us. Milton Keynes is coming up. I mean, I can't imagine it would be just to let us know that Milton Keynes is the next stop. It is certainly one of the major stations on this route, but yeah. The sun is noticeably lower in the sky than when I last mentioned it. It is certainly getting darker, but we're very nearly halfway already. Well, halfway for this particular run, you know. As far as the actual Caledonian Sleeper route goes, not even close. And when you consider that, well, let's just take a look at Milton Keynes there. When you consider the Chieftain service, that's an LNER service, and that does use the East Coast Main Line. That one goes from Inverness to Euston. I think it's Euston. Certainly Inverness to London. When you reach the halfway point of that run, you're at Edinburgh. So for over half the run, you're not even in England. Which is, you know, I think a lot of people, especially English people, completely underestimate just how big Scotland is. So, Wolverton coming up. I think it's Wolverton. It's pretty close to somewhere like Leamington Spa, and that is on the Chiltern line. But again, it shows just how close these two lines actually are and stay for almost their entire run. So we've got a lot of slowdown here. I think it's because of the amount of these overhead gantries that there are. There's a lot of stuff being rendered, so yeah, FPS is taking a bit of a hit again. So here we are at Wolverton Station. So very much in the in the Midlands now. We are over halfway. Birmingham International is about 51.5 miles away. So this abandoned station, every time we go through it I always say I don't know the name of it. I always hope that at some point someone will be able to let us know, but no, it's never happened yet. The one thing I've also noticed, especially if you compare this route to the East Coast main line, I don't think we've had a single level crossing yet, whereas the East Coast main line, it's like you're going over about 10 of them every sort of like, you know, 50 miles or so. There are so many of the damn things on the entire East Coast main line. looks like frames per second has certainly improved again. Yeah, much better. So I'm thinking the next major station is going to be Rugby. The Caledonian Sleepers never stop at Rugby because none of the Caledonian Sleepers ever use the Trent Valley section, let alone, like, you know, the Northampton Loop or anything, so they have no need to use it. There's another neutral section we just went through. But yeah, they never need to you know, turn off the main West Coast main line and use the Trent Valley section. So yeah, Rugby is really not treated as a major stop on as far as the Caledonian Sleepers are concerned. Any other passenger service on West Coast main line, yeah, Rugby is a compulsory one. Even the express services will stop at Rugby. Well, sun is getting that bit lower. We've now got that real sort of like glowy sort of effect. Another 390, another Avanti one. Do quite like that Avanti livery. It's about the only good thing you can say about Avanti. They are a dreadful company. Their trains are so unreliable, it's not true. And it's not like they bought a load of crappy unreliable trains. They still use the 390s, which were pretty reliable throughout their lifetime. 221s, well, they had quite a few issues actually, the 221s. Reliability was not one of them though. And they also have the 807s, and while the 800 series is not hugely popular, the 807 is widely considered one of the best ones. In fact, it was considered the best until very recently, only last week, when East Midlands trains started running the 810s. And certainly as far as passengers are concerned, the 810s are easily the best of the 800 series. I mean, it's not a particularly high bar, that, but there you go. Will the 810 ever appear in this game? In a way, I hope not, because they use that god-awful internal signalling service that I can't stand. although there's only a very small section of the East Coast Main Line that has that set up, but apparently the plan is to make the entire East Coast Main Line use that internal signalling thing. I cannot think of anything worse, well certainly not when it comes to playing the game in a simulator. So in that regard I'm really not fussed about the 810 turning up, but I mean, I would think it's obvious by now I do like having a wide variety of locos. I mean, having a wide variety of routes is probably more important because, you know, what's the point of having a load of different locos if you're just going to keep running them all on the same, you know, 2 or 3 routes or something. So the routes are the most important thing, but yeah, I do like having a really good selection of locos to choose from. It's almost a shame that there's only, as far as I'm aware, 6 more different locos I can get. There are still things like enhancement packs and you know, and things like Armstrong Powerhouse rolling stock, which probably is, you know, better done than the Dovetail Games ones, but their price does put me off. I mean, I don't use stuff like, you know, the 150s and 156s all that often anyway, so why on earth would I then want to pay like 30 quid for an Armstrong Powerhouse one? But aside from that, so once I've got these last 6, it's those and freeware ones that I might stumble across that I'm left with. As far as routes are concerned, I suspect the next one I'll be getting is another Just Trains one. It'll probably be the last Just Trains, in fact last anything from Just Trains that I get. It's the Bristol and Avonmouth route DLC. So I'll grab that, but I don't see me getting anything more from them. They don't have any other locos available that I'm after. It's mostly steam trains that are left. Armstrong Powerhouse, the only route they do is the Wherry line, which I've already got. They do an enhancement pack for the Bedpan line, as it's apparently known, the London to Bedford line. Looking at it, it doesn't grab me, and also apparently you need a pretty good PC to run it. It's quite demanding because of the sheer amount of stuff that it renders. And I have a feeling my 12-year-old CPU will not like it very much, so that's another thing that puts me off it. So yeah, as far as routes, I'm soon going to have to make the decision, am I going to actually pay ATS prices for some routes? Because the frustrating thing is, there are some routes on ATS which look great and I would really like to get. Not least, of course, the missing link, the missing part of the West Coast Main Line. Be able to do the entire West Coast Main Line run. I think that would be great. But not only are ATS horrendously expensive, and his reputation is atrocious. I mean, when someone has to be taken to court in order to pay the developers for the work they've done, that's not somebody I really want to have anything to do with, and I don't really want to be giving him any of my money. But the bottom line is, he's offering stuff that I would really like for the game, and I cannot get it any other way. But the worst thing is, he's also brought out something else, and I can illustrate it very well here. This run we've been doing, it's been pretty good. The only time, say, we've had any sort of issues has been when it really slows down. Now, as anyone who's watched this video up until this point found themselves at any time saying, well, it's good, but the overhead electrification, the OHLE, really does need to be made to look better. It's just, you know, not good enough. And you know, because they stay on screen for so long that they really need their visuals improved. Now, has anyone actually thought that? But I'll narrow down the scope. Is anybody who is capable of, you know, using a toilet without a user's manual ever thought that? Now, I can tell you with not total authority, but I can be 99.99999% certain the answer is no, they haven't. But ATS brought one out, a pack that yeah, improves the OHLE, and they charge $12.99 for it as we're approaching another neutral zone. There we go. So you've got to ask yourself, why would they bring out a pack, charge 13 quid for it, that no one wants? Well, I can tell you exactly why he's done that. Have a look at the routes that he has available and look at the requirements. And I think with one or two exceptions, they all need that OHLE pack. Why? Purely so that he can charge you another 13 quid for whatever route it is you want. Now, admittedly, you can only do it once, but nevertheless, it's another 13 quid for a totally pointless, totally superfluous, you know, additional pack. That's, you know, it's utterly useless. No one asked for it. I'm pretty sure it would have taken an absolute minimal amount of effort to put it together. And it exists purely so that he can then charge extra for his routes that he has available. And that's the thing I hate about it the most. That's why I do kind of hate myself for really wanting some of the routes he has available. Because I say there are several routes that he's got on his site, and I think, yeah, I'd really like that. Like I say, the West Coast Main Line, you know, the missing section. Also the King's Cross to King's Lynn line, I'd really like that one. And even the Chat Moss line, I'd quite fancy that as well. And the Northampton Loop. In fact, the Northampton Loop is rather surprisingly one of the few exceptions. It does not need the OHLE pack. And it's relatively cheap. I think it's only about 16-17 quid. Anyway, back to our run. We're in a 110 mph zone. It's going back up to 125 though once we come out of this rather long tunnel. So the light is continuing to fade, and our ETA is continuing to come down. We're now due to arrive at Birmingham International just after 10 to 10. So we shaved off pretty much 10 minutes from our initial ETA. And we are still some 25.5 miles away. The light is getting pretty bad now. We see the old sparking on the pantograph there. No, I don't think we need that on just yet. Another neutral section. It's quite a short part actually there between the those two, the last two neutral sections. We have a yellow, or double yellow, and we have a 60 mph speed limit coming up. As we approach Rugby. I've got to we'll set our speed down to 60. So single yellow, but yeah, you can see we do have a points change. So we are fine now as far as our speed goes, so much so we can throttle up again. It will keep us at 60 as we approach a Rugby station. A lot of the old OHLEs around here. Oh look, I mean, look how terrible they are. They really do need improving, don't they? Jesus Christ. So here we are at Rugby Station. So we are fast approaching a 75 mph section. Yeah, you can see where we've gone over the points onto the next line, so yeah, we've got green lights ahead. There you go. So we're entering the 75 zone. And we're now inside it, so we'll set the speed set once again. And we are now in a 125 zone again, so we will set it back up to maximum. Sounds like we've just gone through another neutral section. Oh, I wasn't aware there was one here, but there goes another 221. In fact, it's two of them together, form a 10-car train. You don't see too many 10-car 221s. You see far more of them in the game than you actually do in real life. So it's just 20 miles now to Birmingham International. I'll tell you once, once I do have this, the entire West Coast main line, I've definitely got to do a, what we got here? I've definitely got to do a complete, that's another level exceedance thing, that's alright. Yeah, I've got to do a complete Caledonian Sleeper run. If I do, I will start that one in Scotland, so we get to see the Scottish sites during what little daylight there will be, and yeah, we'll go through England in during the night. We're not missing out on quite so much. We are struggling to be able to see too much out here now. Aha. 75 mph speed limit is coming up. That must be the approach to Coventry station. So we'll start slowing down. There's the AWS alert for it. We don't need to be braking with any real sort of intensity. Go. All right. Yeah, once we pass Coventry station, we'll be, well, nearest damn it, just 11 miles away from Birmingham International then, but we have a 95 speed limit increase, so we will be able to max out our speed once more. So here is Coventry station. The same Coventry that looks absolutely nailed on to be returning to the Premier League at the end of this season. Class 350s is going by. So we're going to start getting a few of the small sort of Birmingham and Black Country like commuter light stations around here. Okay, we're in the 95 zone now, so we'll set the speed set to max. So this is Canley Station. So Tile Hill Station is yeah, just a mile away. Now something has just occurred to me. Every time I've driven the Class 92 before, I've always had the brakes on goods timings. I've no idea about braking in this thing with the brakes being set for passenger runs. We go through Tile Hill Station. Another 350. So Birkswell is the next station. Yeah, it's just occurred to me I've done this entire run. Oh well, doesn't look like I can open the windows anyway, so there you go. Another neutral section we just went through. So here is Birksville station. Yeah, very basic, simple commuter station there. And another 350. That was quite a short one, that one. So less than 5 miles to Birmingham International now. Could even be the next station. I don't know for sure. And my powers of prediction have not exactly been magnificent, so I'm not going to predict that it's the next station. There you go, good job I didn't. So Hampton in Arden is the next station. A mile and a quarter down the line. Up the line perhaps I should say. Now that could well be the last station before Birmingham International, because there's only going to be about 2 miles between here and Birmingham International itself, so yeah, here we are. Yeah, very simple. Very simple, basic station there. And here is Birmingham International, fast approaching. So turn off the speed set. Begin braking, because these are regenerative brakes that we've got in this thing, so be returning some of the probably rather hefty amounts of electricity that we have consumed for this trip. I don't think there's a hope in hell of us getting this entire train onto Birmingham International onto the platform. In fact, these brakes have been absolutely fine. It was me worrying about trying to brake in time. Yeah, no problem at all. I think the loco may need to overshoot slightly, perhaps by a lot. Well, in fact, it's only the last carriage that didn't actually get onto the station. But there we are. I don't know if the doors were opened or not. But that was London Euston to Birmingham International in the Class 92 Caledonian Sleeper. The first actual stop that this particular train would have made on this journey. And that was a great run. I really did like that one. Yeah, enjoyed that one a lot. Let's see how we do. I have a feeling I did pretty well. I don't think I got any speeding errors of any kind. Nope, no speeding errors at all. So, absolutely perfect performance. Yeah, and yeah, great line. The 92 absolutely is, you know, ideal loco for the Caledonian Sleeper service, no doubt about that. So yeah, I mean, everything came together really well there. The route is great, it always is. The loco was great, the train itself was great, and yeah, everything about it worked out really well. That was definitely one of my favourite runs that I have done so far. So there we go. That is this video done, and we will see you at the next one.